In the heart of the Lake District, where hills rise and mists linger, lies the village of Hawkshead. For over 4 centuries, it has quietly held one of England's remarkable educational treasures. This is the story of Hawkshead Grammar School. Founded in 1585 by Archbishop Edwin Sandys, Hawkshead Grammar School was established to offer free education for boys of the ancient parish of Hawkshead. Sandys himself had grown up in the region and believed deeply in the power of learning. The school initially taught only Latin, Greek, and the classics, which went hand in hand with religious instruction, educating 20 to 30 local boys at a time. High-quality mathematics teaching in the 1760s dramatically increased student numbers to over 100 boys from across the country, as the school gained a reputation for getting boys into university, particularly Cambridge. Discipline was strict, but so too was the ambition. The school statutes, laid out by Edwin Sandys, set out the rules for worship, curriculum, school hours, and student conduct. The school day, between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m. in summer, and 7 a.m. until 4 p.m. in winter, left little time for mischief. The boys spoke primarily in Latin and Greek, and were forbidden the use of weapons, gambling, or frequenting taverns or alehouses. Among its pupils were names that would echo through history. Perhaps none more so than William Wordsworth, who joined as a student in 1779, aged 9. He and his 3 brothers boarded with a local couple, Anne and Hugh Tyson. Anne Tyson took in Hawkshead schoolboys as boarders, cooking, cleaning and caring for them. In the case of the Wordsworth boys, who had lost their own mother, Anne became a mother figure for them and an important influence in William's life. During William's final year in Hawkshead before university, she bought extravagant clothes made of silk and velvet in preparation for his new life at Cambridge. In this very room, Wordsworth discovered the beauty of verse. Guided by his beloved headmaster, William Taylor, he was introduced to an unusual and progressive subject for late 18th century grammar schools: poetry. It was here, under the Lakeland skies, that Wordsworth found inspiration for many poems in the Prelude. What became a lifelong passion for Wordsworth began with school assignments.
Their noble sands, inspired with great design, reared Hawkshead's happy roof and called it mine. There have I loved, to show the tender age, the golden precepts of the classic page, to lead the mind to those Elysian plains.
In later years, Wordsworth called William Taylor one of the 4 major influences on his life. I saw the snow-white church upon her hill sit like a throned lady, sending out a gracious look all over her domain. This landscape set young William's imagination wild, with hills, fells and lakes to explore with his brothers and friends, and a simple meal by a peat fire to return to at the end of the day. Through the walls we flew, and down the valley and circuit made, in wantonness of heart, through rough and smooth we scampered homeward. Other boys too learned in these walls, some who lived ordinary lives and some who left their mark. Daniel Rawlinson, a 17th century pupil born in Grizedale, became a wealthy wine merchant in London. Rawlinson never forgot Hawkshead. His generous bequests supported the rebuilding of the school and the founding of the library, ensuring the institution thrived well into the 18th century and beyond. What began with just 115 books, donated by friends, family and business partners, grew to over 1,600 over the next 230 years, giving schoolboys access to a world beyond Hawkshead. Generations of schoolboys left their marks, not only on the benches and desks, but also in the library books. Bored schoolboys drew caricatures of their teachers and passed notes to each other, leaving not only their names but their personalities captured in the schoolbooks. Over time, the grammar school evolved, but the legacy remained: a commitment to learning and a sense of place. Through centuries, headmasters came and went, each shaping the lives of young men who would go on to be teachers, poets, and more. Many of these boys were scholarship students, receiving board, lodging, clothes, books, and a life-changing education. Today, this scholarship continues, supporting local young people through higher education and vocational training. Throughout the 1800s, student numbers dwindled as education and transport modernised, and Hawkshead Grammar School fell behind. When the school closed in 1909, only 6 boys remained. Today, Hawkshead Grammar School is no longer a place of lessons and Latin declensions, but a museum, preserving its story for future generations. The buildings and artifacts hold captured stories and histories of local schoolboys, which continue to be shared and build local and educational history. Behind the scenes, a team of volunteers is working towards conserving and protecting the library collection. Book by book, each volume is checked for inscriptions, tears and damage, and repairs are carried out under the guidance of an expert book conservator. It is painstaking work that needs donations and volunteers to continue. We don't just work to preserve our history, we also run as a charity, supporting young people in the ancient parish of Hawkshead with educational or vocational training grants. The charitable scheme began in 1717 and continues to support local young people's education to this day. In the quiet of these old stones and the echoes of young voices past, the spirit of Hawkshead Grammar School endures. Not only in books and records, but in memory, imagination, and inspiration.